This week on Previews World Weekly, Paul Dano writes the Riddler comic, Last Ronin rides off into the sunset, and we unpack your unpopular opinions, and there are plenty. It's all happening right now on Previews World Weekly.
What's up, Previews World? It's Wednesday. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's time for Previews World Weekly. I am one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood, a.k.a. the Duchess of Free Comic Book Day. We're about a month and a half out from Free Comic Book Day, so get hype May 7th at your local comic book shop.
Like, follow, subscribe. This is just your reminder. I'm going to, we just hit actually 10,000 subs on Previews World, a little over it now. Which is really nice, yes, and it's a nice feeling to have. Still a little too far for certifiability according to YouTube, but
rude.
But let's keep it going, guys. Not only should you like, follow, and subscribe, but you should also share. So definitely follow Ashton on Free Comic Book Day. Follow me on Previews World, and we don't really share anything. We don't really provide anything that's not a lot of fun. I kind of want to say.
That's super true.
I'm sure there's worse things on your timeline that are popping up on a regular these days. But on our side, it's comic books, it's toys, and just general excitement. So, what's up, Dave Brown? Hi guys, what's up, man? How's it going?
Hi, Dave.
Absolutely. Actually, speaking of general excitement and things going on our feeds, right? Last week, the last few weeks, we've been really big on talking about Hakes, right?
Yes.
We've been keeping you up to date on Hakes for since I want to say early March. Particularly, we all kind of marveled collectively at the Boba Fett prototype figure that was on sale, right? It's one of the most prized Star Wars toys in history. It was up for auction, and here's the deal with this thing: it's a rare prototype for a rocket firing Boba Fett action figure from the late 70s. This was a version that was scrapped over concerns about safety. There was basically a concern that kids would eat the rocket.
That's a legitimate concern.
I mean, it's
as a baby that put a lot of things in my mouth that I shouldn't have. I get it.
I mean, it's understandable. Baby's gonna baby.
Right.
There's only a handful of authentic prototypes like this are known to exist, and turns out, you want to know how much did it go for, Ashton? You want to know?
I do. I'm sure it's a banger.
So it was valued over $100,000.
Okay.
It went for $204,435, which is nuts.
My God.
Yes, absolutely crazy. 27 bids, as you can see, which, to get to over $200,000, I thought there would be more bids, but I'm sure that this is enough of a big ticket item. I guess a few people were like, nope, too rich for my blood, but those 27 people were like, I'm going all in. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. And there it is. Look, but don't touch, because you can't have it yourself, guys. But
that missile does look very edible.
It looks just very digestible.
Oh, yeah.
But would you say maybe like a Sarlacc pit?
Perhaps. Might get a couple years into it and then give up.
There you go. Exactly. Definitely thanks to those of you who joined into the Hakes auction. There will be more, of course, Hakes auctions in the future, clearly, because they've been a huge success. Johnny, you actually gave me a hard number on this. What was it? Like the last Hakes earned how much?
Yeah, actually, let me share the screen again here real quick.
Production manager, producer Johnny Rose
brings in 3.2 million.
3.2 million, guys. Yeah, as you can see from the side scroller up top, it's a wide array of things, from sports memorabilia to Pokemon cards to creepy Disney toys.
Ooh, yeah, that Mickey Mouse was a nightmare for me.
To political memorabilia.
But think of it. I mean, that was some kid's toy back then. So
it was.
I hate it.
And so, definitely keep an eye out for the next one, because not all the items will cost you $240,000. So, $204,000. I'm sorry. So definitely keep an eye for the next Hakes. And of course, we'll keep you updated here on Previews World Weekly, let you know what's going on. Also, I got to point out, the April Previews catalog is in stores today.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. On the front cover, we talked about this on the show last week. Clementine from Skybound Image Comics, a Walking Dead comic that features the popular Telltale character Clementine.
And also the Amish.
And also the Amish. You really stuck on that. I don't know why. But the Amish apparently play a major factor in the plot here, so that's also kind of interesting. This is a YA book, a Walking Dead YA book, which
Right.
I think we talked about this before. You know, I read some Hunger Games. I've seen the movies. I know that these
Yeah,
YA books can get a little intense if they want to.
for
So
sure.
I would be if you're a Walking Dead fan, I wouldn't be too discouraged about the Clementine book being YA for young adults. On the flip cover, do you remember the animated series Gargoyles, Ashton?
You know what? It's one of those things where I looked at that figure and I was like, I feel like this lives in my brain, but I don't have any specific memory associated with it.
Right. Well, this was the latter years of, I want to say, what they called the Disney Afternoon, right?
Okay.
Which I think used to come on UPN or what is now CW, I guess, or at least in the DC area where I lived as a kid. But the series from the creators of the Batman the Animated Series,
Mhm.
and I feel like it was short-lived, but it has a strong cult following,
Okay.
and DST is now making a line of minibus based on the series. So that's actually on
Why
the flip
not?
cover of the previous catalog this month. Look, there's 600 pages of pre-order must-haves. You can pick up your copy today at comic shops,
Mhm.
or you can browse PREVIEWSworld.com/catalog and see the whole thing right now. And if you're signed up for Pullbox, of course, you can go and sign up. And well, if you're signed up for Pullbox, of course, you can go ahead and make your pre-orders directly to your comic shop, as long as they're participating, because people get hung up on that sometimes. I want to make sure I
Yeah.
say that. All right. It is New Release Wednesday, right? So let's get into it. Ashton's got her
That's
pick.
true.
I've got my pick. I'm going to stop talking for a little bit so we can get into some comics. Let's go. All right. So,
Mhm.
hallelujah. It is New Comic Book Wednesday. Um, some pretty big ones coming out this week. There's I want to give a shout out to the Godzilla versus Power Rangers book.
I saw that.
Yeah, that I saw in the solicitation. They said it's it makes so much sense it hurts, and I kind of agree with them. Like
Sure,
I feel
definitely.
like I feel like Godzilla and Power Rangers is something that should have happened a long time ago. So, all right. But my pick this week, I'm gonna go first. Ashton, you okay with that?
Take it away.
All right. It's a book called Ghost Cage. It's a new Image comic series. Two things about this got my attention. It's from the East of
Mhm.
West artist Nick Dragata. It's in black and white, which is actually kind of a rare
Neat.
occurrence for some of these bigger publishers. A lot of people do color, but I think that also the fact that it's in black and white speaks a lot to Nick Dragata's art style.
Sure.
You know, I think there's I think something very impressive about his art style, and there's actually preview pages on our website right now that actually prove this point. But here's the premise: when his megacorp power plant falls under attack by terrorists, the super
Mhm.
scientist who revolutionized and controls all energy on Earth sends his ultimate creation and an adequate employee in to destroy his most monstrous secrets. I don't know. It looks like
Robot?
it's going to be maybe. It looks like from the cover, it looks like a robot.
It's a no-go for me.
From the cover, it looks like a robot,
I
but
actually very nearly picked this as well
okay.
because it just was like anytime like there's robot content, I'm like, I need to just like know all the possible outcomes of what are
Exactly
we
right.
dealing with.
You got to brush up, know what the possibilities are for humanity, right? And the robot apocalypse. Yeah, this is just I feel like this is going to be great looking.
Mhm.
It's highly imaginative. I can already tell from the preview pages and the cover images and the solicitation, and it just promises to be a wild
Mhm.
ride. And you know, I've said this 100% times before in the show. I'm into comics for the wild ride. That's what I want. I
Yeah.
want you guys to do stuff that I can't get from movies, television,
Yeah.
anything else. I want the big stuff. So definitely big sci-fi concepts,
Mhm.
big stakes, big art. Yes, yes, yes. And I will report back with details about whether or not it was actually any good, but I kind of feel like it might be. So definitely check that out. That's available today from Image Comics and at your local comic shops.
Let
What's
me
your pick?
know.
Yeah, you curious? Okay.
I'm curious. Yeah, test run that for me.
Okay, no problem. We'll do. We'll do. Actually, I think a copy went straight to the office this week, so I'm down for it. What is your pick this week, Ashton?
Okay. So as we are apt to mention from time to time, your comic book store doesn't just sell comics, they also have toys. So
Also
I'm
true.
picking a toy this week. I've picked this Toxic Springtrap action figure from Funko. It's a Five Nights at Freddy's figure. And I've
Okay.
mentioned on this show a couple times before, I am obsessed with Five Nights for
All
Freddy's.
right.
Like it's so weirdly addictive to me. And the concept behind it is outrageous, and there's tons of lore, and only like half of the lore has ever been actually confirmed, but like we all just kind of agree on 100% of it being true. Like the math doesn't add up, but I'm here for it. So it's a 6-inch figure, so he's a decent size. He comes packaged on a blister card, and he glows in the dark, which is fantastic. And it is Springtrap's rendition from Five Nights at Freddy's AR, the special delivery game. So if you're interested at all, Springtrap is the animatronic form that the serial killer Michael Afton possesses to do more murdering.
Oh, okay. So he possesses the animatronic figures. Is that the deal?
Yes. Well, okay. So at one point in time, he was alive and a person and committed, a string of murders and then hid the bodies inside of the animatronics at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. Then they, decomposed, whatever. But the spirits of the children that stuck the animatronics took over the animatronics, and they became vengeful spirits. They went on a murdering spree. And then Michael Afton died. They stuffed his body in an animatronic because he had that coming. But death did not stop him.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, that's fine. It's so crazy. I dig it. Every time I watch, I haven't played Five Nights at Freddy's, right? But every now and then I stumble upon, I'll be on video game YouTube, right? And then it'll show me, it'll be like, oh, why didn't you watch this video of Five Nights at Freddy's? And I get so tense watching it.
Yeah.
I get so tense watching it. So I believe you when you say it's addictive, because I could totally see that being something like, no, let me do it again. Let me do it again. Like, it's just, it seems like that type of game. So I'm all for it. Actually, we got some comments here, some suggestions. Jamie Hutchinson, I got the Batman McFarlane toy the other day. It's a 30-centimeter Batman. It's amazing. Have you seen it? Actually, I don't think I have. Is that for the movie?
Centimeters.
Is that for the movie? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
30 centimeters. That's a foot, y'all. That's a big boy.
Oh, that's a big boy. Okay. Anton says, I feel even reading Spider-Man. I have been reading Spider-Man lately. Beyond is really good storyline. I think the Amazing Spider-Man book is going to be on a huge incline in the next couple of weeks. I think that there's some heavy hitters, some good writers, some good artists coming onto that book, and I'm looking forward to that myself. So I will keep an eye out for the current Beyond storyline. Those Art Adams covers are gorgeous. All right, let's kick it over to Natasha. So, all right, of course, as Ashton mentioned, your comic shop is not just home to comics. It's also home to toys as well, collectibles, statues, etc. So check this out. This is Natasha with the Previews Toy Chest. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit more.
Hey everyone, I'd like to wish a happy first birthday to my daughter Lana, and here is this week's rundown of some of the toys, statues, and collectibles hitting store shelves for the first time. Let's take a look inside the Previews Toy Chest for the week of March 23rd, 2022. Be sure to check with your local comic shop for availability. And to see more, head over to PREVIEWSworld.com/toychest. There you'll feast your eyes on more hot new collectibles.
All right, cool. And you can catch Natasha every Tuesday on the Previews World feed around 3 p.m. Eastern. We do a rundown of actually this video that you just saw just now, which is Previews Toy Chest. So definitely like, follow, subscribe so you don't miss out. All right, I guess let's get into some news. How about that?
I'm ready for it.
You ready for it? All right, news time.
It's time for some haunted animatronic news.
That was a little creepy. I don't know. There's something about that threw me off.
In my spine.
It did kind of like echo through your soul, didn't it? It was kind of interesting how that worked. That was weird. That was very weird.
I hated it so much.
I apologize.
Was that too much for you? Like that was too far for Johnny?
just after Ashton's whole description of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I just said this to Ashton in the chat, this really has me like second guessing my son's birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese this weekend.
Oh,
Keep an
God.
eye on him. Make sure he doesn't disappear inside of an animatronic, because then he'll murder you.
We'll be keeping a close eye on him.
You know, I'm actually a little shocked. Chuck E. Cheese still exists. I actually saw one not too far from my house the other day, and I was like, I just recently moved over it not too long ago, so I'm
Yeah.
still kind of getting a lay of the land. And I'm like, Chuck E. Cheese is still a thing? That's so crazy to me. It's
So
nuts.
gross.
Oh, Carrie Miller saying, dude, awesome news intro.
It's true. It's bad.
All right, let's talk about some news. What's going on with humanoids, Ashton?
Yeah, so Humanoids is got a fantastic initiative going. They're publishing a graphic novel called Makhno, Ukrainian Freedom Fighter, and they will be donating a portion of the proceeds to Razum, which is a Ukrainian nonprofit organization that supplies medical aid to Ukrainian fighters on the front lines. And so this graphic novel is available now. Don't even have to wait for it. It's available for purchase right now, and it tells the true story of Nestor Makhno, a Ukrainian anarchist who was commander of the Revolutionary Insurgent Army of Ukraine in the early 1900s. And just to give you a bit of a feel about kind of what's going on in this book. In early 20th century Ukraine, anarchist Nestor Makhno, the son of peasants, was among the most heroic and colorful figures of the Russian Revolution, encouraging his people to find and embrace social and economic self-determination. Makhno is a story of a military strategist who tirelessly defied both the Bolsheviks and the Germans to protect his homeland. So it's a really great story, really, true story, and part of your money spent goes to helping Ukrainians fight their fight.
All right, cool. So they already had this. I'm assuming this is not being reprinted just because of the current conflict. This is something that they already had floating around in their library. But yeah, that's pretty cool that they have the opportunity to flip that and turn it into something positive, right?
Absolutely.
Speaking of positive things, right? It's been a while since I talked about 2000 AD on the show, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to announce Earthlets that it's their 45th anniversary. Next week, 2000 AD will kick off an online convention called The Galaxy's Greatest, 2000 AD at 45. Guests from the world of entertainment will include award-winning comedians, best-selling authors, writers, and broadcasters, and political commentators, all reflecting on 2000 AD's influence. And I actually want to point out something I think kind of sometimes gets lost in the shuffle here. The reason the political commentators are part of this, right, is that 2000 AD is as much a political satire publication as it is a big crazy sci-fi thing. That was kind of like that was its initial. I feel like it's always been ingrained into 2000 AD, particularly Judge Dredd. But the event will follow. The event will throw a spotlight on the people who helped make 2000 AD the galaxy's greatest comic, with creators both new and legendary sharing their stories and insights on the comic's making process, including a feature interview with the co-creator of Judge Dredd and Strontium Dog, John Wagner, as well as panels where Brian Boland, Garth Ennis, Alex DeCampi, Frank Quitely, Alice Cott, and more to be announced. And seriously, you see all the bold names listed there?
Yeah.
Those are the guests, and there's still more to come. So there's a big list. I'm going to sit here on the 26th and the 27th and listen to this while I work, because I think this is going to be really cool. There will be merchandise being unveiled exclusively through the show, and as I mentioned, actually I have not mentioned this part. It's a 2-day stream. Just watch on March 26th and March 27th at 2000ad.com/45 years, and also, as you saw, it's also going to be on their Facebook's Twitch and YouTube. So. Yeah, happy birthday, 2000 AD. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. One of the things I miss about San Diego Comic-Con is going to the 2000 AD booth and just kind of looking around. So, absolutely. All right, what else we got going on this week, Ashton?
Batman star Paul Dano is tackling the Riddler in comic book form, which is exciting because we'll get to this later, but I particularly loved him as the Riddler. So he will be delving into the villain's origin, so it'll be an origin story titled Riddler Year One. DC announced this last week, and the book will be coming out later this year in October. There's been very, very scarce information about this book to be revealed. They haven't said much about it. No art team, no plot details, nothing. But one thing that fans kind of were quick to pick up on is the title of it seems to be a reference to Batman Year One, the 1987 comic book arc from Frank Miller. So maybe there will be some shades of that there. And again, you can grab that in October.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually pretty cool. I'm very curious what Paul Dano's going to bring to that All right, what else we got here? We're going to talk actually about the Batman a little bit later. We're going to circle back to that because Ashton and I finally saw it. Both of us saw it. Speaking of the new previews, here's something I know fans are relieved that is happening. With hundreds of thousands of copies in print, the best-selling IDW comic book series of all time, I didn't know that. I didn't know this was all time. Jeez. Reaches its sense-shattering conclusion with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin #5, hitting stores on April 27th. Released quarterly in a prestige oversized format since the first issue debuted in October 2020, The Last Ronin has taken the comic world by storm, building tension for fans as they await the answers to the ultimate question. Will the Ronin be able to find some measure of peace, or is he fated to meet the same end as his brothers? While The Last Ronin's final chapter brings one incredible narrative to a close, the torch of epic storytelling will be passed to the next huge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles saga, namely a sweeping new tale called Armageddon Game. The brainchild of longtime TMNT scribe Tom Walt, working alongside current TMNT ongoing writer Sophie Campbell. The new storyline will be foreshadowed in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Free Comic Book Day special. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin #5 will be available with 2 cover figures for retailers and fans to enjoy. And as I mentioned, it is in the current previews catalog, so it is available to pre-order right now. I know a lot of people were like kind of like rage quitting, but also coming right back because the book didn't show up when they wanted it to.
Right.
It's here, it's going down. Definitely reserve your copy. And also, actually, I'm glad Johnny showed that The Last Ronin hardcover is also being simultaneously released. So if you hadn't caught up yet, you can pre-order the hardcover book, which collects the entire series as well. All right. Yeah, let's talk about the Batman here. Like I didn't write down any notes for this. But so I'm just going to go off the top of my head. So excuse me if I get a little too excited.
Do it. Go for it.
Yes. And thank you, Johnny. Spoiler warning for those of you who did not watch the movie. I don't know. Should we make an agreement? Are we going to spoil it, or are we going to try to dance around it?
I could reasonably dance around it if you want.
Okay, I think I can dance around it too. Like I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna promise anything to you guys, but I'm gonna try.
Right.
Okay.
Fair.
But it's been what, like about 3 weeks now since the movie came out. So I think it's the statute of limitations is over. So I want your reaction, Ashton. What did you think of the movie?
Just in terms of like a high level overview, I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I was very, very pleased with it. I thought Pattinson was fantastic. Like I was blown away by his performance, frankly. Batman's not a big talker, so a lot of what you have to accomplish in that role happens in terms of like mostly your physicality, because even his face is covered in the mask most of the time. So I thought he did a really good job of making Batman feel like this brooding, looming presence, and avoiding some of like the crybaby tendencies that other folks have leaned into.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
I thought I appreciated that. I also have to say, did not miss the Batman voice. I can do without the gravelly Batman voice. It's not necessary. Didn't miss it.
No. Yeah, I mean, I liked what they did with Ben Affleck with the Batman voice. I thought that was kind of neat, where he had like a voice modulator or something like that, or a moderator or something like that. But something can be said for just kind of being like, no, he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
And that's enough. And I'm like, okay, actually that I buy that too. That totally is acceptable as well. So I'm totally okay with that. Overall, yeah, I thought the movie was great. Like I thought it was like a cool Batman movie. My cousin, I have a cousin who's he's actually works in Los Angeles. He actually works in film. And him and I have been going back and forth for years about the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Oh God.
And yeah, like he's always been a fan of those movies. I've never been that big of a fan, of at least like the last two. We already talked about this, of course.
Sure.
But he saw the Batman before me, and I kind of asked him, like, don't spoil it for me, but what did you think?
Yeah.
And he said, he's like, yeah, it was really really good. He's like, I kind of understand what you mean now. Like, Nolan doesn't get the cool factor of Batman. And I was like, that's exactly what it is. That's 100% what it is. Like the director, whose name I'm blanking on, he's the guy who did the Planet of the Apes movies.
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves, yeah. He understands that Batman needs to be cool, but he also needs to be a character. And he needs to be a multifaceted character. And, I felt that we got a little bit of that in Batman Begins with Nolan, but, after that, he kind of seems just stuck in time. Like he just seems stuck for like 2 more movies. This Batman showed a lot of emotional range, despite not being outwardly emotional, which I thought was actually pretty impressive for Robert Pattinson. So great Penguin.
Oh my God, he was fantastic.
He was fantastic. He was really good as the Penguin. Great Catwoman. Great
I
way to
didn't super love this ski mask thing though. I wish they would have done.
I've heard people say that. I've heard a couple of people say that. Like, I think that I've heard a couple of people say that. Like, I was fine with it. I don't know. Have you ever had the knitted caps that like the ends, or like the cheap ones where the ends are just like a little too bulky?
Yeah.
All right. So I kind of was like okay with that, because I'm like, I know exactly what hat that is. Like, it's the ones where like the stitching is just a little bit too clumpy, I guess, in the corners, right? So they look like cat ears, right? But yeah, no, just really cool.
I thought John Turturro was fantastic. I like him in general, though.
Yes. I was actually surprised to see him. I didn't know he was in the movie. And then
neither did I. And I was like, this is the guy from Transformers. Like, what are you doing here?
Right. No, I was surprised to see him. And then like when he showed up and then I realized who he was on top of that, I was like, oh, that's great. You know, like just great casting, great mood, great tone. Like, I think there's a fine line between wanting superhero movies to be realistic and wanting them to give the impression of realism, but also being stylistic. And I think this movie pulled off the latter very well. It's like, it's grounded because it's a dark character, you know what I mean? But Gotham very much is a character in itself. And I think that you can see that in the production design. He doesn't go as hard as Tim Burton used to, right? But definitely the Gotham has a personality, and I really appreciate that, especially considering how much they talk about, you know, saving Gotham. You know, I think that it's really important that you kind of like go, oh, this is a very unique city, and you see that and you feel that immediately. So hold on, we got some comments here. Jamie, I've seen the Batman twice. I'm thinking about going to see it again before it comes out of the cinema. Can't blame you. I wish I'd never seen the Stallone Judge Dredd. I don't mind the Stallone Judge Dredd all that much. The Carl Urban Judge Dredd is the only one I will watch. The Carl Urban Judge Dredd is very good. I actually think it popped up on my screen back here at one point. What else we got, Johnny? Anything else? I still can't get over the sticky floors at the cinema.
That's such a specific gripe.
Guys, just want to be talking about the Batman, right?
Oh, golly. Oh, people are spilling their drinks.
You know, Johnny, you said a lot about this last time. Is there anything that you want to throw in here? Like,
well, I just think that like the sticky floors in the cinema is trying to be indicative of like the dirty griminess of Gotham. So maybe they do that on purpose.
100%.
Yes. It's part of the, you know, like, have you ever done the 4DX?
It's an immersive experience.
Oh yeah, no, that's how we saw the Batman, was like with the seats rumbling every time like the Batmobile was like revved up. I could feel like my chair like vibrating. Like, oh.
So there you go. The sticky floors are part of the 4DX experience. You just didn't know it, and they don't charge you for it, which is really nice at movie theater. So.
And if you spill your drink, you're just adding to the experience for the next moviegoer.
No, the next movie, right? Do your part, guys. Just throw all the slushy on the floor.
I mean, I mentioned this
slide.
I mentioned this when we had Natasha on like 2 weeks ago. It's like a lot of the stuff that I wanted out of the film before the movie was released, when we talked about it, is kind of what I got.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, a little bit of spoilers, but it's like we got to see Batman actually be a detective.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
Which was long overdue.
Yeah.
And well, the other thing I don't want to mention, like, you can go back and watch the episode from like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you'll see all the stuff I wanted. But yeah, it's a great film. Like, I'm excited to see where they're going to go with this. I'm excited to see the Penguin series. I think it's coming out on HBO Max. I don't know when the release date for that is, but I know it's.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right. That's a thing that's definitely going to happen. Also, shout out to Andy Serkis for, you know, doing more roles without the aid of CG.
I don't think they've ever gotten or had a bad casting of Alfred.
No, I think every actor is like kind of like knocked it out of the park. So yeah.
Even on the TV show Gotham, I think Sean Pertwee, I think.
Oh yeah.
I think was the actor's name. I know it's the son of the actor, or one of the actors who played the Doctor in Doctor Who.
Oh, is it?
I can't remember if it's Sean Pertwee or John Pertwee. I forget.
Okay.
Someone in the chat, let me know.
Oh, hold on. Where's I can't believe the makeup on Colin Farrell. You can't tell.
I know.
Yeah. Like Liz, my wife had to like look it up afterwards because she didn't believe it was him.
It doesn't look like him at all.
You know,
I'm sorry. Were you about to say something?
No, go ahead, Ashton.
Oh, I was saying it doesn't look like him at all, but something else I wanted to touch on. I feel like I can't let this conversation pass without saying how incredible I thought Paul Dano was as the Riddler. I thought he was amazing, perfectly unhinged, like nearly likable. Like there was a moment like when he's in Arkham and he's talking to Batman where I was simultaneously like pushing back against my seat trying to get away from it, but also like damn it, I kind of like I get what you're saying.
Right.
It's one of those things are like the means don't justify the end, but like weirdly like I almost got what he was going for.
Yeah, which I think is perfect.
Sean Pertwee, thank you, Jamie. Yes.
Okay.
There it is.
There you go.
But,
Actually, you know what?
Ashton, that scene, that's what I was mentioning. I think like the other week when I said that if Paul Dano, because of that scene, doesn't get like a Best Supporting Actor nomination, then there's something's wrong with the Academy.
It's a good scene. It's a good scene. I was actually going to point out that like this movie also did something. It kind of outlined it like writ large for people, right? Like Batman is not a cop.
Right.
And this has been an ongoing conversation that irks me so much.
A narc.
Online, people have just been going on and on about this. And at this point, I know it's a troll. I know it's totally a troll.
Okay.
So that like whoever can get some like likes and follows for the day or whatever, right? But on Twitter or wherever. But the fact that the movie made it like clear, and like this is not the first time Batman has fought cops in comics or movies, right? But the movie really did try to underline, like, no, he is not part of the police force. Like, he is not assisted by the police force. He's only assisted by one man, Commissioner Gordon, you know? Right. And I thought the movie did a really good job of outlining that. So, shut up. Tired of that conversation. Anyway.
Y'all really think Batman would be a narc? Like, I can't understand that.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, come on, guys, give it a rest. Anyway. All right. Let's switch gears to actually another book out this week, Count Crowley. So for those of you unfamiliar, the actor David Dastmalchian, right? He has been in actually a slew of DC and Marvel things.
Everything. And Dune.
And Dune, actually. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's been in Batman movies as well. And so he actually started making comics a few years ago, and he did a title called Count Crowley. And so we're going to show you a trailer for the sequel to Count Crowley that's available from Dark Horse today. When we come back, I'll talk a little bit more about it. Check it out.
How did it come to this? I used to be a legend. Oh! Forgot my teeth. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Dr. Fearless. Now, before we get back to tonight's creature feature, we have a word from our sponsor. I am smiling. My dear fiends, does your cat's litter box stink like the dead? Are ghastly smells haunting your house? Dr. Fearless prescribes Mew Mew Fresh Litter, guaranteed to make those erroneous odors rest in peace. Isn't that right, Bubblegum? What do you have there, Bubblegum? Is that what I think it is? Boils and ghouls, the wait is finally over. Bubblegum has just informed me that our favorite monster hunter, Jerry Bartman, is now back. Look, Jerry's still wrestling with her inner demons. She's also bracing to do battle with a procession of werewolves, bloodless giants, dismembered zombies, and vengeful vampires. Will her past come back to haunt her? Or will she unearth the truth, slay the beasts, and save the world? It's all in a night's work for Beloit, Missouri's KSKB TV's top-rated horror hostess. Prepare yourselves for the return of Count Crowley, amateur midnight monster hunter. Coming soon to a comic shop near you. You know, that's a good comic book right there, Count Crowley. That's a good one. You remember that one? Written by that Dalmatian guy? What's his name? Dalmatian? What a weird name. Right, Dastmalchian, of course, and the art by Lucas Kettner. They're fans of my show. No, they are. They're fans of the show, you guys. I know they are. I heard it. I saw it online somewhere.
I think that's the first trailer that actually made me genuinely laugh out loud as I was watching. That was actually pretty good.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I thoroughly enjoyed that. The cardboard cat actually almost killed me. That's actually pretty hilarious. Shout out to David Desmalchin. So Count Crowley is basically so back in the day, I guess they don't really do this anymore, but back in the day, there used to be these horror shows that they basically would do creature features, and they would be hosted by an actor in makeup and some sort of like horror getup or something like that. Basically like Elvira or Svengali, like stuff like that, right? Vampira, I think was another one. And so this book is about a woman named Jerry Bartman who is actually in a similar position. So I'll just read the premise to you guys for issue number 1. It's been a hell of a week for Jerry Bartman. She lost her job, crashed her car, took the only gig available hosting the Midnight Monster show, and oh yeah, dismembered a zombie. No big deal. Now, to protect the people she loves, she's going to have to take a crash course in monster hunting. And quickly, a vengeful vampire just booked a first-class flight into town. This is a miniseries. It's arriving monthly from Dark Horse. It's available right now. And if you're interested in it, you should go to PREVIEWSworld.com/pullbox and pre-order it. Reserve your copy today. Let your local comic shop know, as long as they're participating in a pull box, that they can get it. Looks cool. Yeah, it's a cool book, actually. I actually really enjoyed the first volume. Definitely going to pick up the second volume. So, all right. We've got issues. Ready for some unpopular opinions?
Oof, always. I love this.
All right, let's do it. Let's dive in. Unpopular.
I disagree.
Okay, this is one of our recurring segments. We ask you guys to share your gripes with us. We want to know what your unpopular nerd opinions are. So anything nerd adjacent, TV shows, movies, video games, comic books, whatever, give us a hot take. So here's what you guys had to say. Danny says Wolverine is the most overrated character in comic book history. Yeah, I said it. It's aggressive.
Oh, got a lot of likes, a lot of follows on that one. Okay.
Evan says Thor Ragnarok is a terrible movie that takes two awesome stories and mashes them into a joke-filled mess of a movie.
Okay, I could understand his frustration. I can get that.
Yeah, I get where he's coming from. Sarah, okay. Robert Pattinson is not good looking. That feels so personal. Robert Pattinson is not good looking. I was really hoping for there to be a Nightwing movie with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, I see. The truth.
That's so ignorant. James says...
Sorry.
That's so rude. What did he ever do to you?
Right.
Okay, James says superhero comics are cool. Superhero movies are boring.
I mean, okay. That's fair. Sure.
Arthur says every franchise reboot is somebody's first exposure or favorite version and is just as relevant as your favorite version.
Lies. Okay, maybe you're right.
That's a great hot take.
It is, actually.
Daniel says, while the show should be given a second season and doesn't need to be remade, I could see Pedro Pascal playing Captain Malcolm Reynolds in a Firefly reboot. He looks just like Nathan Fillion. That is my blasphemy for today.
I mean, we asked for blasphemy, so it's all good.
Rob says, sports fanaticism is just as nerdy as comic book fanaticism. They're just too insecure to admit or realize it.
I mean, that's true. I think it is. I think it's true.
Jay says, Howard the Duck is the greatest movie in the MCU. Tom says, I dislike the current trend of Hollywood making protagonists out of comic book villains.
Interesting. Interesting.
Kenneth says, unpopular opinion, Mark Hamill voicing the Joker should not be ranked with live action Jokers. Why not?
No, I disagree with you on that, Kenneth.
Why not?
Pee-wee Yoshi Coulson.
I have follow-up questions, at me at Free Comic Book Day.
We want to know. Tell us more.
Ignorant. I feel like I'm going to get myself in trouble one day for having such big reactions to people's opinions.
Sorry. Just every time you say ignorant, it just cracks me up. I'm sorry.
Send us your unpopular nerd opinion so we can trash you publicly on our show.
Right. Send me your thoughts, your private opinions, and I'll tll you why you're wrong.
I will fight you all day.
Nathan says, I would trade the entire MCU and DCCU, I don't think that's what it's called,
That's not
for
bad, but yeah.
a faithful adaptation of Wendy and Richard Panini's, I know it doesn't say Panini either, original ElfQuest storyline.
Did you just say Wendy and Richard Panini?
Panini.
My camera
fans
can't
are
even
gonna
handle
come
that
after us.
kind of craziness. Ashton, you've made my camera blurry with such nonsense.
Oh
I
god.
don't know why that happened. Like my brain and my mouth weren't communicating there.
The ElfQuest fans are going to come get us.
That's okay. You can come yell at me at Free Comic Book Day. Logan says, unpopular opinion, nerds are mean to other nerds if they feel that said nerd is not a nerd like themselves. That's a fact, not an opinion.
That's like a math equation is what that is.
If X nerd disagrees with Y nerd,
then
the limit does not exist. Sarah Jean says, Pokemon is just as bad as dog fighting.
What? I mean, I understand where he's going with that, or who's that? Was it she or he? I understand where they're going with that, but
that is a flaming hot take.
I don't know. Does Ray Rice have a Pokemon? Does Ray Rice have a Pokemon?
Adam, Bud, we're not buds. His unpopular opinion is Dune isn't that great.
I can see the big smile on Johnny's face. He was so trolling you with that one.
I'm convinced that everyone that says they dislike Dune hasn't read the book.
I think that's probably fair. I think that's also probably fair. I mean, look, I was in that camp, so I get it.
Also, if you don't like Dune, then you need to go down your list and start striking things off it that pull from Dune. So that means no Star Wars, no Mandalorian. Like
True. Very good point. All right. Do we have any unpopular opinions this week? Do you have one, Ashton? I don't know if I have one, but I might think of one based off of whatever you say now.
Okay, yeah, I have one.
That seems to be how this works typically.
I'm okay with that. I mean, we go back and forth. We go for core, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
My unpopular opinion is just because something is successful in one format does not mean it needs to be adapted into another. If a comic book is cool and swanky and fun, we don't need a live action of it. We just don't. And to another point of that, not everyone needs an origin story. I felt that way about Boba Fett, and I did like the book of Boba Fett, but you don't need his origin story. I felt that way about the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix was great. You don't need an origin story for everybody. You don't need to know all of that. Part of the mystery or chaoticism comes from not knowing why they're making the decisions they're making. Let it lay. Not everything needs to make money.
It's funny. So, I do write comics, right? And so I've actually kind of been having this conversation with myself a lot lately, which is that, it used to be that the way that you introduced a hero is that they were just a hero, and I mean, Indiana Jones shows up and you just know that he's the hero, right? It's about how he's shot. It's about how he talks. It's about how people engage with him. There was no backstory necessarily to get him to that point. And so, I've been thinking a lot more about that myself. It's just, I almost feel like it's hard to even do that anymore. I kind of have to rewire my brain to not have an origin worked out before I introduce a character. You know what I mean? So I think that's actually a really interesting and interesting statement that you kind of threw out there for sure. I totally agree with you on that. Not always have to be the case.
No.
I don't think I have a hot take this week. I gotta say, I'm gonna disappoint. I don't really have an unpopular opinion. I think I'm sure there's one somewhere. I saw some people upset about this Deathstroke thing on Twitter, but then I started typing halfway through. But something about Teen Titans and Deathstroke, and I started typing about halfway through. I just deleted it because I don't care this much. So fair. I'm with you on that. I think you're just right on that. Not everybody has to have an origin story, Ashton. Absolutely.
Thanks. Apparently that wasn't that unpopular.
I mean, that unpopular. I'm with you on that. What is? Oh, there you go. Jamie coming through. Dune is great.
Thank you, Jamie. It is great. We're buddies. It's fantastic. I swear to God, it's so brilliant. What is it? I want to know what they don't like about it. Is it the fact that it's a 600-page book? I want to know what they don't like about it because it says so many important things.
Well, I'm actually wondering. I'm kind of wondering: is the comic, or is it the book he's talking about, or is it the movie he's talking about?
And if it's the movie, what movie is it? Because that David Lynch movie was wacky for no reason. I get it's
it was very
classic
wacky
now, but it's weird.
It's weird. It's wacky. It is definitely a interesting interpretation of Frank Herbert's work.
He interpreted that book blind.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to lay that at his feet. Like, David Lynch was hired to do a job, and they should have known who they were dealing with.
Right.
That was their fault, actually. I blame them for that one. Anton saying, Dune is awesome. So you get a lot of support here, Ashton.
Yes. Thank you, guys. Thanks for the support. It is fantastic.
Let's jump into the weekly poll. Let's get on this week. What's our weekly poll this week?
Today is National Puppy Day. Very important day. So we asked you, of all the pop culture pups out there in the world, well, not all of them, of these three, who is the goodest boy between Crypto, Lockjaw, and Scooby?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. It looks like, is Johnny still here? Or is his camera's gone right now, so I don't know what's going on. So ask Johnny to jump in here. All right, so let's go down the list here. I'm going to say Crypto, because any dog that is Superman's dog probably has to be a really good boy. That's my take.
Ashton, do you have an opinion?
Oh, I do. Yes, always. Scooby, of course. Because he was such a scaredy cat, which is very cute and somewhat true for Great Danes. They're gentle giants. But he was scared all the time, and he did things anyway. What a good boy. He was also food motivated, which big relate.
Right.
As are most living things.
Right.
Also true.
So that leaves it to me to pick, because I'm at the computer where I can.
You could pick Lockjaw and just make it a stalemate.
No, well, I mean, the thing is, it's like, it is National Puppy Day. And to my knowledge, I don't know if like there's ever been a comic that has talked about Lockjaw being a puppy.
Well, he had to have been at some point. They don't just come out.
I'm sure at some point there probably was a Crypto mention of him being a puppy or something like that.
I feel like there's been stories where he like is fresh out the basket, given to Superman or
left
something
on
like
Superman's doorstep or solitude or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, only one of these has actually had a TV show where pup was in the title, and that was a pup named Scooby-Doo.
It's true.
So I'm gonna have to pick Scooby-Doo, and if Scooby-Doo is getting majority.
Yes.
Scooby, all right.
3.2.
Man,
He deserves it.
WB, you gotta beef up your promotion for this new Super Pets movie, because people are not feeling it. Although I guess technically Scooby-Doo is also part of the WB family, isn't he? So I guess win-win on their part.
Lord Scooby-Doo says hyphens, mofo. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby had -do. Okay, my bad. Okay. Sorry.
My bad.
Let's see. Annie says Krypton was a boy.
Crypto. Oh wait, actually, you know what?
Isn't it? Who's Krypton?
Well, Krypton is where he's. I think. Well, actually, now I'm curious. I'm not sure if Annie means Crypto was a boy, as in like was Crypto a boy, or was Crypto a girl, or is that just a typo? Or is that a typo? I'm not sure. But that's a good question. My dog is the best. I think that's probably the best answer, actually.
I get it. I get that.
There you go. Absolutely. All right. Comic shop shout out time. Who's our comic shop shout out this week?
This week's comic shop shout out goes to Sheffield Space Center in the UK. It comes from Timothy Gillett. He says these guys are great and really helpful. So we'll show you some pictures inside of Sheffield at the end of the show. You can take a look at their shop. If you want us to shout out your local comic book shop on the show, find us on social media, tag your shop. If they don't have a handle, just leave their name and use the hashtag #SupportYourLCS. We'll find your local comic book shop, shout them out on the show, and give them some love.
So actually, I love that title. I actually love the name of that story. It makes it sound like it's a, I live near Greenbelt now, so it's like NASA's down the street. It seems like an official NASA location or something like that, right? Sheffield Space Center. All right, here is another reminder to like, follow, and subscribe. You can hang out with me at PREVIEWSworld. You can hang out with Ashton at Free Comic Book Day, all right?
It's true.
It's true. So, hey, over at PREVIEWSworld right now, just wanted to let you guys know, there's 2 interviews I think you should check out. There's one with Adam Lemna, who's the artist on Ghost Agents, which is a Kickstarter series. Typically, we don't cover Kickstarter series, but I kind of had an opportunity to talk to a collection of artists about this title, and it's kind of like a homage in a lot of ways to 60s spy adventure stuff. So Man from U.N.C.L.E., definitely Jim Steranko's Nick Fury series, etc. Mission Impossible, etc., etc. Just like a cool series. Definitely check it out. Get some Formula One. The issue number 1 is currently out from Cosmic Lion Productions, and then number 2 just went up on Kickstarter, and then there's going to be of course subsequent issues as well. I also wanted to point out Opus Publishing. We showed you the trailer last week for Disturbed: Dark Messiah, which is one of their launch titles, but they're also doing a Bill and Ted book. And they're also doing a Death Dealer book, which I think is the big one for me. Death Dealer, of course, is the Frank Frazetta creation based off of a series of novels. This is fun, and this looks really cool. And I'm very curious what they're going to do with the mythos of the Death Dealer, because, of course, there's been stories about this character before. But this is the one where I'm like, I want to see how they're going to interpret this. I'm really curious how this is going to become a comic book series. The Disturbed one is actually from Tim Seeley, who's of course responsible for Hack Slash, and as I mentioned, there's a Bill and Ted series as well. But I talked to a trio of people behind the production of Opus Publishing, and they give me a rundown of like all the stuff that's coming out. If you're a fan of Heavy Metal Magazine, you probably want to check this out. And 51 minutes. Oh, we could have gone a little bit longer, I guess. Well, you know what? Hey, whatever. It's cool.
Women in Comics Roundtable.
Yes, Ashton. Can you give a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So last week I was fortunate enough to sit down with 4 other women from across the comic book industry. It is Women in Comics Month, so we had a chance to talk about kind of how we feel women are portrayed in comic books as a medium and their place in the industry, and how we can kind of create a more inclusive space for everybody. So we had Anna Mia, we had Ruth Ann Thompson from Aftershock, Carly Salvaca from Boom, and Lisa Wu from Top Cow. Sorry, I almost blanked on it. So that happened last week. It's available on the Previews World YouTube right now if you want to catch that. It's a really fantastic discussion.
Yeah, it's actually very good. Ashton nailed it. She knocked it out of the park. So
thank you.
Yeah, shout out to you. You know what? Actually, I'm thinking maybe next week let's see if we can clip a little bit of this out and like share it on the show next week.
That'd be cool. I would love that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick my flag in this now and say let's do that for next week. I think that would be cool. Also Annie Fox jumping in saying that was an awesome panel. So
glad you could catch that, Annie.
And Carrie Miller, Women in Comics was so cool. You know what, Ashton? I'm gonna give you credit right now because I'll be honest with you. We don't often see females in the chat on our show. So here I'm thinking that maybe the Women in Comics panel actually did us a good service and like bringing some people in. So shout out to you, Ashton, and shout out to all of your guests.
I sincerely hope that was the case because I really enjoyed that, and I thought everyone had a lot of insightful things to share.
Yeah, absolutely. Just all professionals in this field. So I loved it. And that's it for Previews World Weekly, right?
I think so.
That's it.
Great. We did it.
We did it. We did a thing. It was 53 minutes. That counts, right? We can do 53 minutes. That's fine. I'm one of your hosts, Troy Jeffrey Allen.
I'm your other host, Ashton Greenwood.
And hey, guys, we'll see you at the Spinner Rack next week. Catch you later.
Don't forget that you can catch Previews World Weekly streaming live every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific at Previews World on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.